Hi, this is Jim Gibson from CableSupply.com, and this is another episode of IT leadership. Actually, it can be not only for IT, but it could also help you in other areas of your life. And we're going to talk about goals and priorities. I remember once when I was in college, which was a challenge itself even to get into college, to be honest with you, a long story. But I was in college, and we talked about goals and priorities in one of the classes. And the teacher was actually an excellent professor. She really was. She taught us about the goal has to be measurable, has to have a time frame to it. You have to work on it on a regular basis to accomplish the goal. And she told us all that stuff. Then on the Friday class, I remember it was a Friday class. It was a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class. She passed out a piece of paper where we had to sit and think through seriously what our goals are going to be, especially for the weekend. What was our goals for this weekend going to be? And it had to be written out in detail. And I think, or at least the best of my recollection on this, and again, this was like, what, 19, and now I'm in my 60s, so it was a long time ago, but it really stuck in my head, and it should stick in your head when I'm done with the story. So anyway, make a long story short, I wrote out these details. I was going to study so many pages in the textbook, and I was going to study for this exam, and I was going to write this paper, and I was going to do this about college and this about college and everything else. It was very detailed, and it was probably 4 or 5 of them. Goals. I don't know how many. It might have been more, it might have been less. The point is, they were specific. They were according to her direction that she gave us, the good ideas that she gave us, how she, told us what to do and everything else, how to write up goals and how to set priorities in your life. So I had them out. I was like really happy. Wow, this is great. Oh, look at this. This is fantastic. I'm going to get an A on this, man. This little exercise. And so we turned them all in, all the rest of the people in the classroom, and turned them all into the professor, it was great and everything else. And then she handed us pieces of paper that we had to describe what we did each half hour of our life, starting on Friday night and ending on Sunday night. So let's say if it started at 6 p.m. Well, we had to write what we did between 6 p.m. and 6:30. And then between 6:30 and 7, and then between 7 and 8. And, some of it you could just put a line through. I slept from, 11 o'clock at night till 11 o'clock in the morning type of thing. And you can just put a line, sleeping, So you didn't have to fill in details, exact details, but you had to write down what you were actually doing at that time period. So, what did I do? Well, Friday night I went out with friends, and I think we saw a movie, and we had a lot of popcorn, and I got in around 11 o'clock at night, and sure enough, I slept till about 11 o'clock the next morning, and I woke up and kind of just stared at the TV. Probably at 19, I watched cartoons and things like that, and in the afternoon, I went with friends. I did something there. I watched Saturday Night Live that night, Saturday night. I did absolutely nothing that my goals or priorities that I said would be for a Friday night. And, so the Monday morning I turned in my time accountability sheet to the professor. And it was kind of interesting. I thought, hey, yeah, I got this. Great goals, great priorities. I filled out this piece of paper, turned it into her. Maybe that was my only goal, was to fill out the paper. Maybe that should have been my only goal, was to fill out the paper. Anyway, on Tuesday, I got the paper back, and she attached both papers together, and gave them back to me, and she, I don't know, probably a red pen, who knows, but she wrote, I remember what she said, "You have major holes in your thinking." And I thought, when I first saw that, that Tuesday or that Wednesday when I got it back, I thought, how dare her say that? I don't have any major holes in my thinking. Why? I'm an intelligent individual who thinks clearly. All possibilities, and I have great goals and great priorities. So I went to her a little bit offended, and I said, what do you mean I have holes in my thinking? And she said, well, you see these goals? These aren't really your goals. Really, your goals are sleeping in, time with friends, watching TV, And that's basically it on the weekend. That would have been an honest description of your goals. She goes, this other goals of where you said you're going to study and you're going to write a paper and you're going to prepare for a test, you're going to read so much text in a textbook. She goes, that wasn't goals, that was just wishes. And that's not really, you had no goal at all that even came close to those goals. And I said, well, no, they really are my goals. And she goes, no, you really think it through. Goals aren't necessarily just what you write down. It's what you actually do with your time. And that's what goals are. It's what you do with your time. And, you know, you can have all these lofty goals. Everyone has these goals. Yeah, I'm going to be rich, and I'm going to be this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to start a business, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to get this certification or things like that. But then they never do anything. And then they blame circumstances. They become the victim. Oh, I would have done it, but, you know, my parents are poor. Yeah. Victims never get anywhere. If you allow yourself to become a victim, now I'm not talking about true victims, people that get murdered and things like that, but I'm talking about circumstantial victims. You know, you just never accomplish anything in life. And you think you have goals, but you don't have any goals. If you want to figure out what your goals have been for, like, let's say the last 5 years, and think about what you've accomplished in the last 5 years. What have you accomplished? Not what you have discussed about, not what you would love to do, or you feel good about, but it's what have you accomplished in the last 5 years. And if it's nothing like, well, you know, I went on vacation, yeah, I bought a new car, well, okay, well, that's your goals, man. You know, be honest with yourself. Your goal was to go on vacation every year in Hawaii and spend 3 weeks there. Your goal was to buy a new car every 2 years. Don't turn around and tell me your goals are financial and that you wanted to save X amount of dollars and buy a house, or you wanted to save X amount of dollars and go into business, and you're somehow a victim because no one's helping you. Help yourself, you know? Be honest with yourself. Start that out. Come up with some real goals. You know, if you want to start a business, then sit down with a piece of paper and a pen and say, what is it going to take to start a business? Well, I'm going to need X amount of dollars. Well, how do I get the X amount of dollars? Well, I can save so many dollars each week. You know what I did when I started my business? The first thing I needed, I needed what's called a butt set. And a butt set, if you were selling, a little thing you hold on that you can talk to on the phone, and has a dial pad on the bottom or the back, and it has little alligator clips, and you can attach them to a circuit, and you can test the circuit. I didn't have a butt set. I didn't have a punch down tool. You know what a punch down tool is? We sell them on our website. It costs about, I don't know, not much. I didn't have that, and I didn't have a ladder. And guess what? In your cable, you're going to need a ladder. So I didn't have all that stuff. So I thought, well, I'm going to need it. So the first thing I decided I was going to buy, because it was probably the most inexpensive, was I was going to buy a ladder. So I started putting money aside. Well, I had some jobs I had to do, that I wanted to make money on, or at least learn the business of IT and cabling and all. So what I did is I borrowed someone's ladder, and I borrowed a friend's butt set and a punch down tool. And I remember I did my first job for a doctor, which was put in a jack on his wall, and I had to borrow all 3 things to be able to do that. And but that was my goal, was to start a cabling company. Now I already knew a lot about IT and all, and I knew basically about cabling. So my second goal was actually learn cabling. And I took a job with a company that did it, that did basic cabling, and I learned basic cabling. But my goal from the beginning was to start my own business. But I set goals. By this date I'll have my own ladder. By this date I will buy this type of butt set. And by this date I will know the color code. And I'll do that by each day reading more and more about IT. Each day practicing punch down so I can get so good at it that it's nice and neat and clean. And so they were my goals, and I set the priorities in doing that, and I set that in my life. And you know, it slowly built, and it slowly built, and pretty soon, you know, I had enough resources that I could go out in business on my own. So goals, you got to have goals. If you don't have goals, you don't accomplish anything. Always remember a statement, and I don't know who said it. It might have been Rockefeller or Henry Ford. It was back during that time period. These mega corporations that were started back then, and these people became wealthy working in their corporations, such as Rockefeller and with Standard Oil, and Henry Ford, of course, with the Ford Company. But they would have big offices with, you know, hundreds of people working in there, and they would have a person called a mail clerk. And the mail clerk was the guy that would collect the letters, the post office stuff from the post office, and then he would sit there usually in the basement, and they would divide it up as to who gets what. What floor. They'd divide it according to floors, and they'd walk around a little cart and hand out all the mail. They were the mail clerk. All they did was collect mail and hand mail out like a postman, but they worked for a corporation. But he made a comment about a mail clerk, and again, look it up if you want. It's not that interesting. But it was, show me a mail clerk with goals, and I'll show you the next president of my corporation. Show me a mail clerk without goals, and I'll show you a mail clerk. And that's the point. If you don't have any goals in life, you'll never accomplish anything. You know, no one gets to the top of Everest by just wandering around the world and somehow finding themselves at the top of Everest. Set some goals. And, you know, goals should be stretchable. There shouldn't be simple, stupid goals, you know, like I plan to put my shoes on, or I plan to eat lunch. That's not a goal. A goal should be something that's serious. You know, I want to buy a house. I want to start a business. I want to finish college. I want to get a certification. Now there's a goal. Certification in Cisco, not easy. That's a serious goal. So you set a goal, and you want to say, within 5 years, I want to do X, Y, Z. I want to start a business and make so much money. But then you divide it up. What are you going to do each year for the next 5 years to accomplish that goal in 5 years? What has to happen? And they become goals. So you have a priority of starting a business, let's say, and you have your goals of what you need to do to start a business in the next 5 years. You need to do this, you need to get this training, you need to do this, you need to do that. And it could be shorter than 5 years. It could be 1 year. But it should be broken down all the way down to a daily goals. What are you going to do today to reach your big goal? What action are you going to take today to get there? And remember, if you turn into a victim, you'll never get anything done. Oh gosh, you know, I never accomplished anything in the last 10 years because. You know, my mommy didn't have enough money to send me to college, and my dad didn't do this, and I was, you know, born this way, and I had a problem here. If you allow that attitude in your life, you'll never accomplish anything. So goals should be specific. They should be stretchable. They should be more than you think you can do, and they should be daily. You should have daily goals to accomplish the big goals, and you should have priorities. Have good goals. Don't have stupid things. You know, like collecting bottle caps or you know, stupid things like that. I'm sure what I think is stupid, maybe other people think are brilliant, but think of things that are worthwhile spending your time with, and then spend time with it every single day. You know, I guess I'm kind of a little different than most people. I like getting up early in the morning. I get up at 4 in the morning most days, not every day, but 4 in the morning most days, and I have a goal. I want to learn something. I want to learn the cloud. I want to learn AWS, Amazon Web Services. And then every day I get up, and it gives me 2 hours before I have to start something else. 2 hours of peace and quiet, and I'm working on it. So I hear a lot of people say, well, you know, I don't want to get Cisco certification because it's just too hard, and, you know, well, you know something, why? You know, I hear people say, well, I don't have a router or a switch to do it. Well, figure out how to get a router or a switch. Stop whining about it and figure out how to do it. And then dedicate each day time to learning about routers and switches. And you know something? Take the test. And if you fail it, okay, take it again. Study some more. You know, just make it a goal and don't give up with it. Be persistent on it, especially when it comes to Cisco tests. I think Cisco tests and And also the security test, the CISSP, is probably the hardest test I've ever taken. And they take serious effort. You know, you just can't just walk in and take the test and pass it. You actually have to study hard for it. So determine if this is important to you, set a goal that you're going to pass it and do it. You know, if you want to be in the IT world, that's what you have to be. Now next, leadership. If you're a leader and you don't have goals, you're not a leader. I'm sorry. You're just wasting your time. You're wasting your people's time. If you don't have goals and priorities, you're just wasting your time. And you should have goals. And you should have goals for your company. You should have goals for your organization. You know, getting from point A to point B. And it should be stretchable. It shouldn't be the easiest thing in the world. It should be something you actually have to work towards. And it should be daily also. And you got to keep stats too. You know, if you're, you heard the old story about widgets. If your company produces 100 widgets a day, have a goal to produce 110 widgets a day within 2 months. And then look at it every single day to see if you're reaching. And if there are things you need to do to increase that productivity in your business, then do those things and have dates on when you're going to have them accomplished. And keep track of them, maybe even journal with them. I'm not a journal type of person. I don't keep track that way. I have a different way of doing it. It's totally different, but it's not for this video. Well, mail clerk with a goal is the next president of the corporation. A mail clerk without a goal is a mail clerk. So if all you care about is a 9-to-5 job Monday through Friday and you actually accomplish nothing in 20 years except deeper in debt, well, you know, only yourself to blame. Look in the mirror. You know, you are the victim, I guess. And everyone will think how sad you are and they'll move on and do the things that they want to do in life. Have some goals, set some priorities for yourself, for your organization if you're a leader. Be clear-cut, communicate them clearly to your people if you're managing an organization. Make sure they understand what direction your organization is going in. And I thank you for your time. It was my goal to have one video done today. And I've accomplished that. And it was not easy because I had a lot of other things that were pulling me away from it. Thank you for watching my video. I always appreciate when people watch my videos. Please follow me, like us, and give me a thumbs up. Hey, comment on the comments. If you liked it, comment. If you don't, comment. I don't care. I like to read the comments. I enjoy it. But I do appreciate the fact that people watch these videos. Again, this is Jim Gibson with CableSupply.com. If you have IT needs, please buy from the website and help support these videos. And I do appreciate you watching again for the third time. I think I said that. You have a great day. Talk to you later. Hi, this is Jim with CableSupply.com. Hi, this is Jim from CableSupply.com. Hi, this is Jim with CableSupply.com, and today I'm going to show you how to cut a hole in the drywall.
This is David signing out. You stay classy, Internet.